What's up, guys? It's Niko here, and I'm bringing you another Doctor Who review. It's a bootleg edition again. Sorry about that. I'm not in the studio. I'm on the road, but I wanted to get this out to you because I just watched the episode, and man, was there a lot of stuff going on, and there's a lot I want to say. This is episode 8 of Series 9, titled The Zygon Inversion, playing with the Zygon Invasion of last time. And if you watch that review, you know that I was less than pleased with how it went down. I think I gave it a 5 out of 10. After watching this episode, I think I was a bit harsh, and I'm man enough to admit I might have been wrong and not been seeing where they were taking it. This episode brought it home, it tied up the ends, and it was Doctor Who at its most insightful. We have a modern, we're doing basically what sci-fi is supposed to do. It's got a message, it's got a moral, it's got something under the surface about our times now, about what's wrong with today, the state of fear that we live in, these kind of revolutions, terrorism, okay? Modern terrorism, homegrown terrorism, or terrorism from foreigners, and the fear that it brings, and the fear and unrest that it causes. And if we would all just stop to think and use your brain, like the doctor says, we could really limit this kind of thing. This episode brought all those themes, really dark, really heavy themes, but this series, Series 9, has kind of already been playing with a lot of themes like that. If we go back to the first two-parter with the one with Davros, you know, the forgiveness, the mercy, do you give that to him and the Daleks? And now we've got this with the Zygons, and we've got a race of aliens living among humans, but they have to hide, and there are presumably the younger ones who are unhappy with that, who see it as them being in chains, but maybe they're not in chains, you know? The doctor doesn't agree with that. Some of them are happy, but there's the young revolutionaries who are unhappy, and they want things to change, and they have these perceived injustices, and for that to happen, you know, to get things changed, you got to change things violently. You got to force a change. They're angry. But in the acting masterclass that Peter Capaldi gives in the climax of the episode, he debunks and tears down and basically shuts down all of those ideas with his speech to the, what was her name, Bonnie Clara Zygon, and basically tears apart her argument completely. He kills her with compassion, pretty much. He forgives her at the end. And even if the whole episode was crap up until then, just for that, I would have to really give this episode a high rating and look at it seriously. Just for that scene, because Peter Capaldi killed it. It was all him. It was all his acting. And we see why he is such a famed actor, because in that scene when he was talking about the wars and not knowing, you know, you're just a child. You don't know what you want. Deep down at heart, all these angry revolutionaries, all these terrorists, they don't know what they want. Okay, he's fought in wars that you'll never understand, bigger, more at stake. He's done more than they'll ever have to do. When he closes his eyes, he sees and he hears the children, the women, and he was so sure he was doing the right thing at the time. So now he knows that he can tell and give the advice that no, it actually wasn't, and you're going to regret it later too. What's next, right? Are you going to make schools? Are you going to have music? Who's going to, you know, the public transport? I don't know all the examples he was giving, but those mundane things that once the whole revolution's over and the big picture's over and you've won, what's next, right? And this was fantastic stuff. This was so insightful and so, how do I say, I can't even find the word for it, but basically getting to the heart of a lot of the troubles of what's going on in politics and in the world today, and the fear that's pervading a lot of our lives. Maybe we can attribute this to Stephen Moffat taking over and co-writing this episode with, I forget the guy's name, but whoever the writer of this episode arc was, because he alone wrote the first one, and that one was a lot of forced mood and seemed very false and kind of pushing this feeling that wasn't earned, and it kind of was moving at a weird pace. And this one brought it all together, and the writing was much more top-notch. This was some great dialogue, and the mood seemed much better. Clara in her dream world, I thought was fantastic. It brought me back to some of the old mind-bending thrillers I've seen. It really harkened back to some of those. with the tone and the style of it, and this is toothpaste and the gibberish writing. It's like going back to psychology of dreams, you know. Check if it's a dream. The time is different. Is the writing different when you look away and you look back? Things like that. And I really love this episode. I honestly can't find a negative thing to say about it, which if you had talked to me last week was something I would not have seen coming. I thought this was going to be the stinker of this series, which up until now has been great. No, I'm even inclined to re-rate past episode from 5 out of 10 to something higher. I'm not going to do it. I already put my review out for it. But I can rate this one, and this one I have to give a 10 out of 10 because, like I said, I can't find a negative thing to say. They really blew me away, and they really, really pulled off something adult and insightful here, and I'm really excited for what the next two-parter, the final two-parter of this series is going to bring. I can honestly say that unless the next one is complete and utter garbage, which I can't see it being, that this series has been the best series since series probably 5, and it might even be better because I don't think all the episodes in series 5 when Matt Smith took over were this good. But it's just been an upward climb, and it's been getting better and better, and I'm forgiving last week because this week really, really tied it so well. So what did you guys think? Do you agree with me? Did you disagree with me last week and agree with me now? Let me know. Leave a comment or follow me on @Mr. Niko Films on Twitter, Mr. Niko Films on Facebook. You can leave a comment there. You can let me know how dumb I was or how wrong I was or how right I was. It's possible, right? It is. Anyway, tune in next week for the first episode of the final two-parter. Sadly, Doctor Who is coming to a close for this series, but hopefully it's a good one. Until next time, guys, take care.